From fearless warriors to unwavering defenders, these are the incredible stories of history's most epic last stands. In this video, we're diving into the most heroic deaths in history, exploring tales of heroism, loyalty, and bravery. Chapter 1. Ben El Salaman, the dentist who became a battlefield hero, World War II. From being a dentist, Captain Ben El Salaman changed roles and became one of the field medics in the bloody Pacific War of the Second World War. For one, while serving as a regimental dental officer, Salaman saw the famous Japanese Banzai attack of 1944. When the Japanese charged over the front and tried to attack his medical facility, Salaman had fiercely fought for his brethren in this movie. Salaman then ordered medics to get out, and he grabbed an automatic rifle and killed as many Japanese soldiers as he could. By the time he fell, Salaman had reportedly killed 98 enemy soldiers. He gave his life to others. Eagles display their ultimate courage when morale and resiliency are absolute necessities, exemplified by his last stand. Chapter 2. Galvarino, 1557. He was a militant Mapuche who fought the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. After his capture at the Battle of Lagunas, he was subjected to a brutal punishment. He lost both his hands to the Spanish governor, Garcia Hurtado de Mendoza, in an attempt to discourage the Mapuche people from continuing resistance. Not being able to achieve that, Galvarino left the scene with a spirit to come back, and he stood firm and encouraged his people. He found a way to continue to fight, and they put knives on his forearms to become a fierce fighter when it comes to war. In an ambush against the Spaniards, Galvarino showed a lot of courage to his forces, since he continually led his men against the Spanish with only determination as his weapon for the liberation of his people. Galvarino became a legend in the patrimony of Chile because he was an indomitable soul and did not hesitate, even when he was captured and executed, to fight for his people. Chapter 3. Benkei, the warrior monk, Japan, 12th century. Samurai warrior monk Benkei of 12th century Japan was a giant measuring 6 foot 6 inches and vowed to slay all evil samurai. Benkei was renowned for his brutal strength and unparalleled loyalty, and he celebrated these aspects by collecting swords belonging to defeated samurai for a lifetime goal of 1,000. His loyalty was earned the hard way after he met the great samurai warrior Minamoto no Yoshitsune, who defeated him. Inspired by Yoshitsune's act, Benkei surrendered to him and decided to accompany him to fight. Their journey brought them to the fate of jeopardizing their lives and perishing in the Battle of Koromogawa in 1189. As Yoshitsune prepared for ritual suicide, Benkei took a final stand on a bridge to protect his master. Cutting down waves of the enemy one after the other, he stood in front of the bridge and thus took on the role of a shield. Fujiwara's soldiers were too afraid to attack him and so shot arrows towards him. But even if they stuck onto Benkei's body, he remained standing in front of Yoshitsune, giving him enough time to finish his ritual. Then, approaching the place, they saw that Benkei stood stiff and dead, reflecting his loyal and unrelenting ethos. Chapter 4. Yi Sun-sin, the admiral who defied all odds, Korea, 16th century. Yi Sun-sin, Korean hero who commanded a navy that fought off Japanese invasions in the 16th century. Despite his demotion because of political rivalry, he reclaimed his position when his successor performed dismally badly. Charged with the defense of Korea, Yi had the 13 vessels to combat more than 300 that formed the Japanese Navy. In the Battle of Myeongyang, Yi used superior tactics to sink 31 enemy ships without losing any of his own. In his final stand at the Battle of Noryang, once more Yi was bent on driving the Japanese out of the Korea, and he did just that. In the wake of getting his men prepared, Yi was shot in his armpit by a musket ball. Knowing that his injury spelled the end for him, he instructed his son and nephew to go on fighting while concealing his death. Finally, as his nephew stood in his stead wearing Yi's armor, the Koreans triumphed, and Yi died with the beating of his war drum, which now represents Korea's freedom. Chapter 5. Sergeant Gander, 1941. During the World War II, in the Battle of Hong Kong, Gander, a Newfoundland dog that served as the mascot for the Canada's Royal Rifles, distinguished himself by acts of courage. Gander became so impressed by them that he decided to accompany the battalion to Hong Kong. During the battle in December 1941, in the fighting against Japanese forces, A grenade fell into contact with many wounded Canadian soldiers. Immediately, and without any thought for his safety, Gander collects the grenade and charges to the enemy's lines to detonate it and die. Chapter 6. Constantine the Saint, Palaiologos, 1453. Constantinople to the huge attack from the Ottomans under their new Sultan Mehmed II. Lodged in the Constantinople and commanding a force of 7,000 men, Constantine managed to resist their attacks for weeks, during which the Ottomans fired cannons on the ancient city walls and tried to breach its defenses. After the Ottoman forces entered Constantinople on May 29, 1453, in an attempt to evacuate, Constantine retained his position and dropped his royal status to fight as a plain soldier. He was last seen fighting in battle, willing to die as a defender of what used to be the great Eastern Roman Empire. His death signified epoch-making change, bringing to a close Byzantium and heralding the Ottoman Empire's dominance in the area. Thanks for joining us on this journey through history's most epic final moments. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories. See you in the next video.